Alright guys, so today we're talking about Rainbow Six Extraction, and so this just released today or tonight, depending whenever you're watching this video. This is going to be a first impressions video, not a full review, because obviously I haven't had enough time with it. Now, I've played a little bit. If you want to see a full-on gameplay walkthrough, I did a stream earlier today, you can go watch. It's just pure gameplay. Don't really know what I'm doing, but it's just pure gameplay. But in case you don't know what this game is, let me attempt to summarize it up for you. So it's within the Rainbow Six Siege franchise, right? All of the operators, or at least some of them, are here, and it's that mode that they did maybe a couple years back with the zombies thing, and they kind of just made it their own game. That was like the test for this. And so what do you do in this game mode? Well, you pick your operator, you pick your loadout, and you go into the containment zone, right? And so here I'm doing a tutorial, just as not spoiling anything, just because it's the first day. And like I said, if you want to see actual missions and full on just gameplay, there's a stream of that. I think it's like an hour and something long. But so what do? You go in, and there's 3 zones. You see in the top left corner there, the little diamonds. Those are the 3 zones, and you get an objective. Like here, it's locate and take down the target, right? And this can be anything from take down a target, capture a target, defend an area, destroy some nests, save an ally, which we'll talk about more later. But pretty, generic for the most part objectives. There's nothing, incredibly unique. And so you go through and you do what there is to do, whatever your designated objective is for that area. And then once you've done that, you go ahead and move on to the next area or choose to extract. Let's say your ally dies and you have low health and you don't think you're going to be able to make it to the next area, and you don't want to lose all that XP and lose your ally. Then you can go ahead and extract, and you won't have a problem. You can just do that one zone, you can do 2 zones, and you can leave. You don't have to go on to the next area. Each area increases with difficulty as you continue to go from area 1 to area 2 to area 3, and you get 15 minutes within each zone. Gameplay wise, it's exactly like Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, the lean mechanics, even the HUD in a sense, the recoil, auto aim, I mean, it all works exactly the same. If you played Rainbow Six Siege, you're going to be familiar here. So really, you go through and do whatever your objective is in these zones. Like I said, it varies, and you get XP and unlock new things, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then you repeat the process over and over. Obviously, like I said, this is first impression, so I can't speak to the game's length, but as of right now, there's 4 areas, and then 2 differently named, I guess, areas. Again, I don't know what those are. They're capped off behind the highest levels, but as far as I can tell, there's 4 areas. Each of them will have 3 zones within them. Like the first one is New York, and it has these 3 zones you can choose from within New York. And then there's these other 3, and then like I said, there's 2 that are locked behind higher level caps. So that's really your length of gameplay you're looking at. Like I said, you can spend up to 15 minutes on each zone in each level. So technically, with 3 levels in each zone, there's 4 of them, that's 12. You're going to spend, the most you can spend is 45 minutes in each one. So do the math on that. It comes out roughly to about 9 hours. Now that's going through doing everything just once, obviously not failing. I'm assuming that won't get you through all the progression, and let's talk progression. So you have your obvious Rainbow Six Siege stuff, your charms, your attachments, your uniforms, your weapon skins, all of that stuff, right? Your typical every single game usual stuff, right? Then you have kind of like a pseudo battle pass, and so the way that works is there's like achievements tied within this progression tree, if that's what you want to call it. I don't want to really call it a battle pass because you don't have to pay for it or anything like that, but that's how it functions, right? As you level up, you get skins or charms or new attachments and new bits of lore, stuff like that. There's 30 levels to it. Again, I don't really know the time on it because I haven't, again, not a review, haven't fleshed out into the game, but it is what it is. Then you have tech, which is like your gadgets. You have each operator a gadget, which is uniquely tied to each operator, which like Lion Scan, so just Sledgehammer, Doc's Heal. But then you have this tree of like body armor, trip mines, revives, claymores, and then some stuff that's not in Rainbow Six Siege that's unique to this game. So as far as progression goes, that's pretty much all there is, right? Your operator progression, that skill tree, battle pass progression that I talked about, and then this tech tree, right, where you can pick and choose what you want. But let's talk about the store, because it's not awful, but it is there. So within this shop, again, it's nothing like Valorant or Halo Infinite when it first launched. Like I said, there is a shop, and the end goal would be that there's not one. So you have your stupid skin, like your Pulse Cat skin, and this stupid skin in the bottom left, and then you have your smaller skins, like just uniform stuff like helmets or weapon charms or skins for weapons, stuff like that. And these range anywhere from $6 to the most expensive thing in here right now is $10. And again, it's not awful, it's not way up there like fucking Valorant skins with like $100, but if they weren't there and you could just unlock them in game, I mean, the cat one you can keep for the store, I don't care about that, but it's fine, it's expected at this point. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So ultimately, what is this game, right? If you take that mode, if you played it, I don't remember what it was called in Rainbow Six Siege. I don't think it was called Extraction, but if you played that when that came out, this is basically a more refined version of that, right? You take the operators, throw them in like a zombies-like scenario with mini objectives and increasing difficulties, put some progression in there, some new skins, and that's basically what this game is, right? Like I said, it's nothing crazy, doesn't do anything new or original. It puts you in little areas and gives you objectives and just puts the rainbow operators in there, right? And so, if you're not interested in Rainbow, if you haven't played Rainbow Six Siege and don't know all the operators like me, you're going through the cutscenes like, hey, that's Mira, that's Thermite, that's Ash, if that's not you, you're probably going to care significantly less about this, right? But me, I like all that stuff. It's one of my favorite games ever. I like the gameplay a lot, so that all works for me, works well. Now, as for the overarching story, I can't speak to that because, again, first impressions video. But let's talk about the value of the game, right? So let's say you go through and, like I said, do those, whatever I said, 12 missions, 45-minute maximums just once, just to play through everything once. This is not counting those 2 extra modes along the bottom, so that would be 9 hours. We'll say each one of those extra things at the bottom, we'll be generous and say each one's an hour, so that puts the game at about 11 hours. So I don't know what this game costs. Let me go look it up real quick before I get to those points. So this game right now is going for $40. So sitting at about 11 hours, that's not scaling for difficulty or knowing what those last 2 modes are or trying to unlock everything through progression, just playing through everything once, assuming it stays at the same relative level of difficulty, right? And again, that is allotting for the maximum amount of time in each zone, in each mission, right? They give you 45 minutes, but you can be in and out of a zone in under 5, if at least in the early ones, right? So realistically, you're looking at about 11 hours for $40. Again, first time playthrough, not 100%ing. That's not worth it to me, even with the Rainbow Six Siege name on it, right? But let's say you go through and unlock everything, which I'm assuming they're going to want you to play through, not to, what's the name of the game? Back 4 Blood levels, where you have to just fucking grind the game over and over and over again, but you probably have to play this, a severe amount of times. And I'm assuming that's one of those final 2 modes are that are locked behind those higher levels, is just to grind and get higher skill gaps so that you can just grind out that final bit of progression. But so again, at that price point, at that time played, I don't think it's worth it. Now, if you assume that that's only going to get you through, I don't know, I would say ideally that puts you through about 60% of the progression and then leave the last 40 for you to grind through if you want to do that or not, then that pretty much would double you to like 24 hours for $40, which I think is a better price point. That's a fair amount of time played for that price point. I typically like to do, just for reference for reviews and first impressions videos and all of that, is the price point should relatively, depending on the game type, match your time played. So, and this is very genre specific, right? So let's say I'm playing something like, for example, Call of Duty, right? If I paid $60 for it, you should be able to put 60 hours into Call of Duty. Now, I don't expect you, let's say, Spider-Man, or Uncharted, or the Halo Infinite campaign portion, right? I don't expect a $60 price point there to match a 60 60-hour campaign. That's not how that works. Those games, going in, aren't going to be 60 hours. But something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, The Witcher 3, anything that's open world, those types of games, those $60 should correlate to 60 hours. It's typically how I work it. Multiplayer games, like I said, Call of Duty, Battlefield, you paid $60, you should be putting roughly 60 hours on it. So here, if you're paying $40, you put half that amount of time played on it. Honestly, that's more than I expect. I think the average person will get 10 hours out of this, I think is a good estimate. But that whole point doesn't matter because this is on Game Pass, right? So the way I look at things, to me, this game is free. If you want to play devil's advocate, you can say this game at most is $15 if you want to factor in your game price ultimate pass, right? But fucking most people just have the regular version, which is $5, and you're already paying for it, so really it's free in my opinion, right? So we'll go with the $15 price point. That's plenty of content, and for free, it's even more content. If you look at something like when I did my Halo Infinite review, right, that game isn't really that high of a score. I think I gave it a 9 out of 10. I gave it Game of the Year. If you were to combine the multiplayer and the campaign, that would lower the score. And if you took into account that you were paying $60 for it, that would definitely lower it to maybe a 7 or an 8. But the game's fucking free, right? So it's the same thing goes here, right? When you're getting a game for free, your expectations of what needs to be in the game are significantly lower, right? Basically, all you can claim to with a free game, in my opinion, is that it fucking works. That's about it. That is my only expectation. Now, obviously, there are bad free games, but, here, this isn't the case. Anytime a AAA publisher puts a full main title release on a Game Pass type service to where you're essentially getting the game for free, it is definitely worth it and increases the score. And like I said, this is a first impression, so we're not doing scores, and I've already made this longer than I want to, so we're going to leave this here. You guys let me know what you think of your first impressions, what you agree or disagree with what I've said here. If you haven't watched the straight out gameplay and the game hasn't come out for you yet, go ahead and watch my live stream. Like I said, it's an hour and something. It's like the first 2 areas of the first zone, so it's not too much spoilers if you don't want to get anything spoiled. It's just 2 of the 12 levels. So that's that. Again, let me know what you guys think. If you love it, hate it, if you paid for it, got it on Game Pass, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next one.